we're in a great like setting right now where like people around this area that I think like we're in a day and age too. People around this area and like all over the world, they want stuff like this. You know what I mean? They want positivity.
Yeah.
Like where they are.
Progress.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Right.
Like they see influencers that are like far off, like people with a ton of money doing that kind of stuff, which is great. But it's like, man, they're not like real life. Like I can't reach out to them where I am.
Yeah.
But we're like approachable, you know?
Well, yeah, that's I kind of plan on doing that with this podcast, like bringing on everyday people, normal people that can represent
Right.
the majority of people.
Yeah. Yeah. Being impactful in your community setting.
Yeah.
I think it's something that, I don't know, it holds a lot more value to me personally because it's the people you care about, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think we should let everybody know this is a walking and talking podcast. So you might hear some leaves crunching on the ground.
Yep.
But
some striding going on for sure.
Yeah,
Hey, that's the name of the game there.
Yeah. Well, no, I think our plan is to like get a GoPro, strap it to the chest, and then you guys can come walk with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably look into that very soon.
Yeah.
If not the next one, maybe the week after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
no, I want it to be the next one. I want the camera to be on the next one.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So how do you think the last podcast was, Alice? You think it was pretty good?
I think it was a great experience, kind of opening things up and just letting some thoughts flow.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard opening it up, and like we were saying to a lot of our, new viewers, we just went straight into it.
Yeah.
There was no prepping. We got our recording set up, and we just went.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the best way to go about it. I think that led to some pretty good results.
Yeah. I mean, we opened up, we were talking about calling in that video, and like it kind of works the same way with the way God will call people out of comfort. Like there's no prep at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of just like trusting that things are going to align right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like Moses. Moses had everything. He had slaves, and he was rich, and he was even older too, and God called him. God called him out of that comfort zone,
Even though I think he already tried in the past to kind of like overthrow evil in that region, and so he was already rejected once.
Right. Moses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God, from the burning bush, called him, and he was like, go again, round two.
To round two.
He was ready. He was ready. He was filled. Because it's like, if you have a God-fearing mentality, when he calls you, you cannot just sit back and be like, well, things are going good.
Yeah.
And what if I fail? You cannot.
Yeah, just get content.
Because the fear of God striking you down is going to be worse than the fear of, a little embarrassment, or trial.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I think we can apply that to our lives too. That kind of mentality of just open it up,
Yeah, just
show up.
Show up.
I know, man, people talk about like when you're trying to succeed in life, 50% of the battle is just showing up.
Oh yeah, every day, being consistent, even doing the small little thing, the right thing every single day leads to these large results.
Yeah.
Like I was watching this video one time, and this dude was talking about going to the gym. It's like you go to the gym for a week and you see nothing. You go to the gym for another week and you still see nothing. But if you go to the gym every day, 5 days a week for a year, you're going to see insane improvements from when you first started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That consistency. And we were talking about it near the end of the last recording. I think you mentioned the topic of discipline.
Discipline.
I think those discipline and consistency, I think they go hand in hand.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
Being disciplined, 100%. Yeah. Yeah, and I think discipline, that kind of brings us into the topic that we really wanted to bring up in this episode. Passion, like
Passion.
disciplined with your passions.
You know, when I think of those two words, Ethan, what I feel like they might almost be opposite. If you know what I'm saying.
What? Discipline and passion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So passion, you think of the word passion, it's often thought of as a very positive word.
Yeah.
Like it can only mean good. Man, I need more of that in my life.
Yeah. It's almost like a motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I wish you guys had a camera right now because it is, I'm telling you, the woods that we are in is absolutely beautiful. I mean, we have a stream going down the center of the path.
At a crossing right now.
Yeah.
It's like a crossroads.
No, yeah, and you see the sun just coming through. Oh, we got to get a camera, Dallas.
It's making me feel passionate about our work right now. But anyway.
Yeah.
Passion is often thought of as a very positive word. And I think people can get a little off track with that because I think you got to have a balance.
Yeah.
Passion, people describe it as having like a fire, like an intensity in your work, which brings me to like my first point about kind of staying mindful about having too much passion. You know, I often display that in a lot of my different places in life.
Yeah.
Like too much passion.
Right.
It really can burn.
Yeah, no. Like you mentioned, it's like a fuel, but it's like an uncontained, it's like gunpowder. Like,
Oh,
as soon as
man.
you light gunpowder,
Consumes.
yeah,
It's
it's instant. It's instantaneous. It's like, and that's what makes passion so dangerous is because it's hard to spot because it happens. They're bursts of passion. They just boom.
It's chaotic.
Yeah,
It's chaotic.
exactly. And before you know it, you got angry at somebody and said something that you shouldn't have, and now they're upset with you for multiple days just because of one word that you might have said.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so dangerous.
Passion's very emotion-centered,
Yeah.
which we were talking about discipline. Discipline, in my opinion, would be very task-centered and very just going about and doing it,
Yeah.
and not really thinking about your happiness or your anger, just thinking about showing up and doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's like they're two opposite ends of the spectrum. Like passion is like not being self-aware at all, and then discipline is like you're fully self-aware. You're conscious of your actions every day. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying for sure. No, passion's very emotional centered, but I think that can be good in the sense of like, that's where I think you can kind of separate like the human spirit from, let's talk about like technology.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, if we did not have emotion and like care, how would that separate us from technology? You know what I mean?
No, you might explain a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay, so I think a great example of like having a lot of passion would be music,
Yeah.
on art, where you can display a lot of emotion and a lot of character.
Well, yeah, but like, here's the thing. It's not, you don't necessarily have to not be passionate. It's just about having controlled passion. Like art and music, like you said, are very passionate, but it's like controlled passion. You're taking that passion and putting it onto a paper, or you're taking that passion and putting it into a musical instrument.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Almost kind of like a combination of passion and discipline.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like you're harnessing the fire. You're harnessing the gunpowder and putting it, behind a bullet that can do something for you. And if you use that bullet correctly, I mean, you could save people's lives.
Yeah, I agree. But what I was trying to really hit is like, passion is what really separates like humanity from non-living, substance.
Yeah.
Like what really separates life from.
Well, do you think animals can be passionate?
I would say no.
Do you think animals are just pure passion? You see what I'm saying?
That's a good question right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've never really examined that thought.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I would say animals are pure passion. You know,
Wow.
like if you have a dog and they see, your shoe on the ground, they're going to allow their passion to want to bite and chew that shoe to take over them and chew up your shoe. They're not thinking that, oh, my owner might get upset with me and, punish me for it. They're just, the shoe is there right now and they let that burst of passion take control of them.
Okay, so here's where I'm kind of going with this. So we're kind of hitting, in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about like the conscience. And we're talking about like two different sides. So discipline being one,
Yeah.
like conscious thought, like you were saying,
Correct.
and then passion being like emotional appeal. Things like rage, anger, happiness, pride, envy, like those kind of emotions.
More the animalistic.
You're thinking, yeah, kind of like beastly.
Yeah.
You're thinking that animals are just on that end, and they don't have like the discipline side of consciousness, which is what would separate them from us.
Yeah, 100%. Or else monkeys would be, building giant buildings in New York City.
They'd
have language.
engineering.
Yeah.
They'd be coming up with all sorts of scientific method. Yeah. I think I agree there for sure.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I hope I'm able to take the leaves sound out in the background. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful spot, but it's, the sound might not be the best.
I walk and talk,
Yes, the Walk and Talk podcast. Maybe, if we had the camera, if we had the camera, then they'd be able to tell.
I think that
Now,
they can tell.
Now, I mean, AI is getting pretty advanced. I'm pretty sure there's this thing. I don't know what it's called. It's like it's with Adobe. You put the sound clip in there and it eliminates all background noise.
Oh, like an audio modifier?
Yeah. Well, yeah, kind of. Well, yeah, anything that's not like voice, it like amplifies the voice. So yeah, if you guys don't hear crunching of the voice or crunching leaves in the background, I did a little bit of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope we can look into that. But I think the viewers, they're going to be able to distinguish like when we're talking and.
Oh yeah, as long as
All right, so going back to passion.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you were kind of thinking of? Oh, I know you were reading that book. You were talking about that example of that professional.
the basketball player.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, basically the story goes, there was a professional basketball player. I think it was in the book. He said it was Sam Castle. He was playing for the Timberwolves in 2004, and he just scored a basket. And right after he got done scoring the basket, he went and did some taunting dance towards the other team. Let his passion take him over, and he got a hip fracture, and that took him out for the championship. And they ended up losing to the Lakers.
Wow. So
2 seconds of passion took them out of the championship. But what were you saying?
So like, he was celebrating a good deed, which was, he scored a few points.
Yeah.
But if you're looking big picture wise, you're looking grand scheme, he was not able to play in the championship game.
Yeah, because
Which would have been the ultimate good.
yeah, exactly.
So you're trying to kind of, and I think we can apply this to like everyone's life. In the grand scheme of things, it's good to celebrate little wins over the span of like you're trying to get to that pinnacle. Like, what's your main goal? What's your main career goal, or maybe calling in life? Getting to that point. But if you're so consumed in that moment that it's like destroying that path, then it's all in vain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a really good example.
Yeah, no, it is, and that's what it is. And it's hard. He probably felt really good in the moment, and it's hard for him to recognize, what I'm doing is a bad thing. He might just do it, be like, oh, it's just a quick celebration. What harm can be done? But it's like passion can lead to unseen harms.
Yeah. and you're not even thinking about the future in that moment.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. No,
Like,
it is for sure.
there's no like cautiousness of like future implications.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure he wasn't thinking about that at all. Like, when he was jumping up in the air to celebrate, he probably wasn't thinking to himself, like, there could be a possibility that I could hit the ground in what was his injury?
You remember? I think it was a hip avulsion or something like that. I don't know if I'm saying that right, avulsion or whatever. But basically, well, how we even ever got onto this topic of passion. So I remember I read it in the book, and I noticed, in a group of people, you would get passionate when you were speaking. Me too. I would get passionate when I was speaking as well. And I think people can almost like pick up on that. And I think when you get passionate, I think it loses you respect. You know what I mean? Because then you're showing to other people that, you're not self-controlled.
Right. But I think on the same hand, you're showing excitement and enthusiasm,
Yeah, but you're showing excitement and enthusiasm, but like a lot of times I think that like the collective, the group would say like he's a fool. He's talking like a fool. I'm not saying, you know what I mean?
Right. I mean, if you get lost in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's where, like, okay, opening up your passion, like, it's kind of like opening up a can of worms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like or opening up. I don't know how I really even say.
Well, I mean, a can of worms makes sense because then you could if you open up the can of worms, it's gross, but like you can also fishing.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like, it's meant for good, but if you really kind of just let it, if you really let it kind of, I guess, make things a mess, like,
Why would you want it to make it a mess? I don't know.
you don't want it to.
Yeah.
But if you leave it open for too long, I think that's where you kind of get to. You know what I mean?
Making it a mess.
Yeah. And like in the workplace setting, I think I see that a lot.
Well, yeah.
Not only from like,
I mean, like passionate with your speak, not passionate maybe with your actions necessarily. And I don't know.
you don't think they go like you can't
I don't know,
apply
I
it to
think
both.
You can speak passionately to a degree, but like once you start acting like a fool, like saying like, making jokes because people are laughing. People are laughing at the jokes, but they're also, I don't know. I feel like it can lose you self-respect.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you're talking about passion as in like, okay, you're kind of diving into like overstepping passion in the positive sense of like happiness. But I'm also talking about,
well, like say it like this. Let's say like you're making jokes, right? And everybody's laughing, but they're mild jokes. But then eventually you're making so many jokes, you make a joke that offends a lot of people. That's going to lose you the respect. You know what I mean? Because you got passionate about making jokes.
you think passion is solely, see, when I'm trying to just kind of narrow it down. Like, when someone is being passionate, not even just at work, but just in general, like in displaying that, what is that, like, what are they trying to show people?
What are they trying to show people? I don't know if they're necessarily trying to show I don't think they're trying to show anything at all because they're not being intentional. When you're passionate, you're not being intentional with your speak. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't think, like, I'm looking into it and like really psychoanalyzing it.
No, I see it.
I think when someone is showing a more passionate side of themselves, they're trying to show where they are emotionally, which,
Yeah.
the initial process of it, I think, is intentional. But yeah, when you go too deep, you start to lose that intentionality. You start to lose that initial, like, hey guys, like, this is a joyous moment. Let's be happy. Or, hey guys, like, oh man, that kind of sucked. Like, we should be a little angry. But if you,
Well, no, when I was reading the book, it did say love and be loved. You know what I mean? It did talk about, like, you want to love passionately. That's fine.
There is a time and a place for everything,
Yeah.
right? For every season. It says that in the Bible.
Yeah, exactly.
And I totally,
Like if you're out with your friends, joking around, having a good time, I think you're right with that. I think if you're out with your friends, joking and having a good time, I think it's not that big of a deal, especially because they're going to align with your passions and they're almost going to like amplify the energy. Because I've had a couple of groups that I've been a part of where, we're just having a blast and we're all like getting super passionate and just, running around making jokes. But like if you're at a place where you should like control your passions, let's say, at work, that can hinder your progress of moving forward. You know what I mean? Oh, like, okay, so the book, by the way, is called Discipline is Destiny, and the chapter is Beware of Madness, if anybody wants to check it out. But he also talks about the queen, and they had a long day. The queen and Prince Philip had a long day, and Prince Philip was getting into an argument with somebody, and the queen walked over and said, "Look at the pottery on the wall," to get him away from it, to bring him back to his royal dignity, because he was in the wrong place in the wrong time. He is a king. He's not supposed to act in passion.
trying to like change the subject.
Yeah. Well, because he was arguing. He was arguing. And arguing is quite literally passion, right? And the queen said, "Look at the pottery on the wall," changed him away, and he brought him back to his royal dignity. And then later on, one of the politicians came over to see what was going on. And there was actually no pottery on the wall at all.
Nothing there.
There was nothing there. She was trying to pull him away. Like she was bringing him back to his royal dignity. Like I said, the royal dignity part is the part that matters there, because it shows that there is a time and a place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now she identified it as not being the time, but I think, like, people can use passion as a tool to bring light to something. You know what I mean? Like, because like I was saying earlier, I think passion is really good for getting people's attention, kind of getting the focus of the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, hey, guys, look over here.
Right.
And people look, And then you can be more direct and more intentional, like, okay, we need to focus up. We need to lock in on this part of the job. Or like, hey, guys, you need to be more intentional about this step. But when people kind of like stay on the gas when it comes to excitement, or like anger, like you were talking about with the argument, or like happiness to the point where it kind of consumes, it clouds.
Yeah, clouds. It clouds your vision. It clouds your thought. So you're not doing things out of intent.
Like your judgment.
Yeah. You're like letting the spirit of passion take you over. It's like a spirit. It's like a demon that takes you over, right? And controls you to do bad things. Like the devil is very mischievous with the way he works.
That's a good word.
Seriously. He
sly. Really sly.
Super sly. He whispers. He's a whisperer. And like he'll well, here's a good story. Here's a good example of how mischievous he is. So I'm pretty sure it was Peter. Jesus was talking to Peter, and Jesus said that somebody will deceive him and he will die, pretty much sacrifice himself and then be reborn. And Peter says, "I won't let that happen. I can't let that happen to you, Jesus." And Jesus responds with, "Get behind me, Satan."
Oh, wow.
Satan was talking through Peter because Satan was trying to stop Jesus from fulfilling his mission,
right?
Because Peter said, "I won't let that happen to you," through good intentions. He had good intentions, but that was the devil acting mischievous, acting with making you believe that what you're doing is out of good intent, but in reality, it's not.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? I thought that was great. I thought that was great because you got to always keep your guard up from Satan.
Even while, like, pursuing good.
Yes.
Especially in there.
Or even...
Because then it's all in vain.
Yeah. Or even in, like, The Lord of the Rings. Gandalf, I forget the boy's name, the Hobbit, one of the Hobbit. Oh, can't remember his name. It doesn't matter. He was the one who
Important.
carried the ring. He was like the main character.
Oh, yeah.
And he told Gandalf, he said, Gandalf, why can't you have it? And Gandalf said, because I would try and use the ring for good, but the ring would succumb to me and make me do evil through time. Because the ring was evil, and if people, they would get it, and then it would cause them to do evil.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Have you watched The Lord of the Rings?
A little bit, but I haven't really seen. But the ring kind of represents power.
Yeah, it's super powerful. It's super powerful, and it can do great things.
But it could also do just as much evil.
His name. I literally just watched the movie 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
but he I think that was a great what he said there. A great thing that he said there was, I will try and do good with the ring, but it will eventually lead me to evil.
Wow.
Yeah.
And consume.
Yeah.
Just like passion.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
blame.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Passion, I'm trying to think of a good example here. One that came to mind, which is kind of relevant to, this year, and especially coming up next month, the election.
Mm.
The candidate, Donald Trump. I think I've seen some of his more recent debates with him and Biden, the most recent one with those two, and him and Kamala.
Yeah.
I think when he is doing his speech, like his speeches alone, and there's nobody on the other side that he, doesn't align with and isn't angered by, he's a very professional man.
Yeah.
But I've noticed with these debates with people that he doesn't side with or actually thinks have been tearing the country apart,
Yeah.
which I would argue, yes, they have been. But he lets that anger carry him away from like his points.
Yes. No, he's
They get a lot of that.
Yeah, he's a great example of like how passion's a bad thing, because that's what the left attacks him on is
That's where they get him. That's his Achilles heel.
exactly. They say, oh, he's so rude, he's racist, he's all these things
Rude. Yeah.
because he does sometimes.
And they say because of that, he's irrational,
Yeah.
which maybe in the moment it might appear that way.
Right.
But I would argue when he was in governing power, he was getting things done.
Yeah. I mean,
He was a very intentional guy.
Yeah.
Very successful businessman and entrepreneur. He's very professional if you look at what he has done. But if you look at him in those snippets, and especially in those debates, it didn't look that way.
Yeah.
And that's what, the grand audience, like, that's what they're going to be looking at the end of the day. Like, oh, okay, Trump versus Kamala. Well, I watched the debate. It looks like Kamala won. To me, she was professional. So I guess I'll vote for her.
Yeah. I don't know if we can hear that plane going overhead.
Play it overhead.
Yep.
Take a pause.
Yep. Take a pause. You will have to find good trails. I mean, this is a great walking trail if you're just walking.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's good for the Walk and Talk podcast, but
It's fall. It's about that time of year. Leaves are falling.
yeah.
Colors are springing up.
Yeah. I mean, like to the viewers, we're trying to get more comfortable with even just doing the podcast. I personally am doing this podcast to become better at speaking.
Right.
Yeah. So
And communicating.
yeah. So like we're trying to go to paths that are less taken by people so that they don't look at us and be like, oh, what the heck are they doing?
Yeah.
So
Trying to be like original too.
yeah,
I think definitely like traditionally people, when they do podcasts, it's more of a sit down, face to face, usually in an enclosed environment. So this is definitely a lot different.
oh yeah. Yeah. I think it is unique. It's like we start the podcast with like, come walk with us,
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
and it like gives them something to watch while they're listening, because currently all we have is just our logo.
Yeah.
On there. But
Well, I think too, pursuing this kind of a podcast, like one of the main reasons we chose to do this in particular was when you are exercising, and you're getting that blood flow through exercise and your heart rate is rising.
Yeah.
I think you can get into a flow state much better than sitting down. And I think studies have actually shown that.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was watching this one video. It might have been a Joe Rogan podcast, I'm not too sure, but anyway, this psychologist was describing the research he had done in like brain scans and the comparison between like individuals that would sit down for 15 minutes and what their brain activity looked like compared to those that were exercising for 15 minutes and what their brain activity looked like.
Yeah.
And the brains of the individuals that were exercising, across the board, it was lit up, like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So much more brain activity. You can tell those neurons and those pathways inside the skull were opening up.
Yeah. No, I mean, the body, it's literally like a symphony. Everything works together, like, to do its best.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the walking thing, I think I've heard somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think Steve Jobs, he used to take people on walks. He would walk with people, like, have a one-on-one meeting with them. He would just walk around.
Wow.
I like that idea. I like that idea a lot because I think there is something about walking around. It's like, if you're sitting still, you're going to remain kind of stagnant with the thoughts and ideas that you have. But like, if you start moving and walking, it's like you're walking through to the next idea.
Yeah. I mean, when you're doing any form of exercise, you kind of any activity really, you cannot get away with not thinking. You know what I mean? Like right now, I have to be actively thinking a lot. Like every step I'm taking, there's a lot of, leaves and like rocks and branches that I have to step over while I'm talking. So I think it's really just activating like my active thought right now.
Yeah.
And I can be more intentional about talking in the process too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why we chose to do this style.
To do the Walk and Talk podcast. It's a little unique. Yeah, but to any of the viewers that are local, that want their voice to be heard and want to hop on the podcast, we're willing to look into getting guests on the podcast.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that would be really good. I think can really pick some people's minds.
Yeah. Even if you haven't done it before, you want to shoot us a text or even leave a comment saying,
comment, like, subscribe.
On the next one, we're probably going to get a third mic here soon.
Yeah.
And we're willing to invite people on, get their input.
100%. And yeah, if you're worried about it, think about it. We're going to set you up. It's going to be like playing T-ball.
Yeah.
You're going to be set up for success. Pretty much. We're just going to ask you questions and you're just going to answer them.
Yeah.
Simple as that. It's easy. Easy game.
Yeah. It's really, people think of the idea of podcasting and they think it's a real complex idea, but really it's just getting concrete, substance like matter out verbally.
Yeah.
That's about it. What do I say?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no. Oh, Ethan.
What's up, Dallas?
There is this, I think 2 weeks back in church, my pastor, he's been diving into politics more recently, and he's been diving into, what a Christian should vote for in this day and age. And it's not really the person, but the values that the person stands for.
Yeah, okay.
Both sides.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, I think in Matthew, he was talking about what Jesus stood for and what he would want us to, how he would want us to approach this election.
Yeah.
And he brought up this verse that Jesus said. He said, I did not come to bring peace. Like most people think of Jesus, they think of this peace guy, like love everybody,
Yeah.
you know. But he says this. He says this word for word. I did not come to bring peace, but I bring a sword. To bring families against each other, friends against each other.
To make them go against each other?
Yeah.
Why?
He says this.
Why?
And I think what he meant by this, and this is what he meant by this, he meant by value against each other in like, what are they pursuing? Like, are they pursuing Jesus? Are they pursuing God and his values? Or are they pursuing the flesh
Yeah.
and pursuing earthly things?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to look into that a little bit more. I think we're planning on doing, you know, shorter form videos talking about specific topics. I think that could be definitely an interesting topic to, you know, look deeper into. You know,
Maybe it's a separate video.
yeah, like I've been throwing the idea of doing the 10-minute videos on YouTube, talking about, you know, maybe different philosophers or different Bible verses or different Bible stories. I think that could be a great way to study, like almost like a Bible study, or like just a study in general.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like we can look into certain passages and kind of psychoanalyze those, or
Yeah,
maybe not even that, but just get a better understanding. Because I know a lot of people, when they're first getting into the Bible, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around what the scripture means, because it's often spoken in a lot like a different way than we speak.
yeah,
You know,
like poetically almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and metaphorically, like
metaphorically. Yeah.
but it's all intentional, all of it.
Oh yeah, every piece.
Yeah.
And I think yeah, if we would do that, do the videos, you know, that would help us even interpret it for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times I think we don't even understand it. You know?
No.
But yeah, I think this was a good pod. Good pod, Dallas. This was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to come out again. Hopefully we can do this again next week, and we'll talk to you guys then.
Yeah. We'll talk to you guys.
Peace out.